I came out to my parents in 8th grade, and as punishment, they sent me to a Christian private school. The door, I have a foot in the door of Christianity. I'm not completely opposed to coming back, but right now...
Who do you think Jesus is?
Jesus was a communist socialist who hung out with sex workers.
A few friends and I decided to go and preach the gospel at a pride parade, and I expected people to reject Christianity outright. Instead, I met people with questions about God, painful past experiences, and an openness to Jesus that I wasn't expecting. I asked them what they believed love was and what was the greatest act of love and who they thought Jesus was. So here's one of those conversations.
First off, my name's John. What's your name?
Sophia.
Sophia. And what's your name?
Micah.
So, are you part of this community? How long have you been a part of this community?
My pronouns are she, her. I'm not necessarily labeled, but I've always been a part of the community.
Okay.
Yeah, I am a she, they user.
Okay.
I am an interbinary femme, which is like a trans micro-label.
Okay.
And I also don't really label my sexuality, but yes, I have been part of the queer community. I've known since middle school, but like, there were signs.
And when did you come out, if you will?
I came out to my parents in 8th grade, and as punishment, they sent me to a Christian private school.
Wow, that's interesting, Micah. That's really interesting. And for you, Sophia, how long or you don't necessarily label yourself, you're here to support. Is that right?
No, I am part of the community,
Okay.
but I came out to my mom like in high school, beginning of high school, so like freshman year.
Okay. And so what is love? What would you guys describe love as?
Love is something that you can't really put a definition on, in my opinion, because it comes out in so many different forms. Like, I've known her since like elementary school, and then we reconnected way later in life, and that's an example of love.
Yeah. The ability to like rekindle. I would say the best example of love is the music track "Love Is" by Honey Dijon. It's the opening. It's the opening to the album. But I would say love is the choice to go out of your way to support someone emotionally with or with your resources because you care about that person and you want their well-being to, be as good as it is. Sacrificing your own, maybe like you don't. This is such an elementary.
This is good. This is good, Micah. Thank you for sharing.
It's true. It does come back to, it's love is choosing to put someone before yourself, and how important that is.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, you guys. And so I'm a Christian. You were saying a little bit ago that you grew up with a Christian background. Tell me about that, if you would.
So my dad is a pastor. He's been a pastor my whole life. Now we go to a different church, and I think that was my favorite church, but it is unfortunately rather conservative, and I do feel uncomfortable attending.
So wait, the one you go to now or the one you went to?
The one I go to now. The one I went to previously, they just didn't really talk about anything political, which is also upsetting, but in a different way.
So this one currently you go to, where your dad pastors, is also kind of conservative.
Yeah.
But you still like it, but it's also hard.
It's okay. I do like the kind of, they have like a separate thing, which I appreciate. It's called the Hope Center.
Oh.
And those are all the things they do for the community. But I don't know. There are a lot of things that the church itself supports that I really can't get behind.
So let me ask you one more question, both of you, and then I'll share mine, is who do you think Jesus is? Because that's something that a lot of people have different perspectives on, a lot of different baggage or past, but Jesus is probably one of the most influential persons, real people in all of history. So who do you think, Sophia, Jesus is?
Okay, I did not grow up religious at all. I've only gone to church like a couple times in my life, but from my experience and in my opinion, I think he was a real person. I don't want to step on any toes, but I don't think he necessarily could like heal you with a touch or turn water to wine or anything. But I do think he spread those ideas of love that is here present today. And I don't know. I do think he was a real person.
Okay. Yeah. How about you, Micah?
I also do think he was a real person, mostly because we have like a lot of archaeological evidence that would point to the fact that he did exist in some form. I have a lot of mixed feelings about Jesus and stuff. I don't really know where I fall as like how true all of the things are. And I also think that, especially in America today, Jesus is used for things that he, the actual person, probably would not have supported.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, like the whole Trump administration does not support Christian values at all.
So let's get back to that question: is who do you think Jesus is, though? You said he's a real person. A lot of people in the Bible say, "Oh, he's a good person, a teacher."
Yeah.
But who do you think he is?
I think Jesus was definitely the face of a social movement. He changed a lot of the ways that people thought about morality at the time. And I think he had a net positive impact. And I will also say like pretty much as soon as Jesus was like not a part of the picture, that's when it started falling apart.
I hear you.
As soon as Constantinople made
a national religion or whatever.
yes, you should not have a national religion. That defeats the whole point. But I think prior to that, there was a lot of...
Because they're forcing people, right? Yeah.
Yes, there was a lot of genuine love and care. Like the Church of the Book of Acts was really beautiful. Socialist. Not to get too...
I hear you. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Micah, Sophia. No, that was fantastic. No, I love hearing your thoughts. So can I share with you just my story, and then we'll share my perspective on those, and then we'll be done. So I grew up in a Christian home, just like you, similar. I didn't have a pastor as a dad or anything like that, but my dad was an elder in the church, so, kind of similar. But I never really experienced God. I was like, I go to church, I do the things on the outside, I said, I'm a Christian, but I never knew God. And finally, a few years went by, I grew up, I got a little older, and I was like, I just want to live for myself, I want to be happy, you know what I mean? And I rejected God. I said, I don't think you're even real, you know what I'm saying? And so I just lived as an atheist, though I called myself a Christian. And for 3 years, I did whatever I wanted to make myself happy. And I started to just plummet into depression, anxiety, and just hopelessness. And I actually started to self-harm. I was considering suicide. And I just remember kind of coming to the end of myself. And I said, God, I don't even believe you're real. It's a Sunday afternoon by myself. I don't believe you're real, but if you are, I need help. And because I don't want to live anymore. And all of a sudden, I felt all my loneliness, my depression, anxiety, all of my just sadness drain out of me from my head to my toes. And I felt peace and love and joy like I've never experienced. Just wash over me from my head to my toes. It was like a physical experience. And that's where I come to that question of what is love? You know what I mean? And you've probably heard this, but you may not know this. In the English language, love, we have one word. But in Greek, which is one of the languages Jesus spoke, there's 4 actually. Oh, 4. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, see? Yeah, and so one of them is family love. We should love our family. There's friendship love. There's romantic sexual love. But then there's this other love. It's called agape, and you know what that is. Do you know what it means? What's agape love?
Agape is like committal love, where it's like, that's kind of the love that I talked about where it's a choice.
I'm assuming you've never heard of this before. But it means unconditional, sacrificial love. So there's no condition. You didn't do anything to earn it, right? And you haven't done anything good to deserve it. And then there's the sacrificial. It costs something. You know what I mean? What do you think the biggest unconditional sacrificial act of love throughout all of history was? What do you think, Sophia?
Childbirth.
What about you, Micah? Biggest act of love?
That was a good answer. I know you're going to say it's the sacrifice of Jesus.
I want to hear your thought.
I mean, to a degree, I think that actually is kind of a fair answer because he did die for a lot of, good things. And I do think that there was, probably maybe some historical truth to the fact that they were crucifying him. But...
Well, let me just share this thought with you, and then we're almost done. So this is the thing, is I do believe that it's Jesus's sacrifice on the cross, that he died for us. That's what he says. You know what I mean? And he says that he had to die for a reason. I don't know if you ever heard of this, but when you think about what happens when you die, where do you go? Well, as a Christian, we believe that there's heaven, there's hell, and that almost every other major world religion believes that over 2/3 of the whole world population either believes in heaven or hell. So it's really interesting. But you think about that, who goes to hell versus who goes to heaven? What do you think? So
I don't believe in that, but it probably, I just don't believe that there's if God is so loving, why would he send people to hell?
Mm-hmm. Do you think Hitler is in hell, for example, killed millions of people? Do you think he deserved hell?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
So there's at least one person throughout history that deserved that. And so the reality is a lot of people don't like the concept. I totally agree. Yeah. It's kind of a hard concept to wrap our minds around because we're finite. God's infinite. But even more than that, Jesus said, I'll take hell for you. And that's what's so amazing about it, is that he lived a perfect life. He never sinned, never lied, never stole, never cheated, none of this stuff. And then he said, I'll become sin for you so that you might have a right standing with God. It's called righteousness. It's a big word, but it's just to be standing right with God so that one day when we die, it says in Hebrews 9:27, it's appointed for all people to die one day. We're all going to die. We all know that. And then it says we'll face God's judgment. So I don't know if you've thought about this, Micah and Sophia. It's like you have a date already set in time where you're going to die. It's just going to happen. Fate. Whether you call it fate, whether you call it God, it's going to happen. And according to go ahead.
Do you believe in predestination?
I think that it's a confused concept. And so more important than that is, again, what did Jesus do? Which is why I'm asking this is he said, I'll take your punishment. So you're in the court of law. We're guilty. And ultimately, Jesus says, I'll take your punishment. So then, do you know how guilty sinners can be saved? You might know this, Micah.
Yeah, repenting and turning to Christianity, but
how can we be forgiven? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like allowing the Holy Spirit into you and
close, very close, not quite. It says that unless there's shedding of blood, there's no forgiveness of sins. You've never heard that probably before. It's the concept of atonement. And so Jesus shed his blood for you and for me in our place. That's why I call it the most amazing, unconditional, sacrificial act of love. Say that again.
I thought you were saying that we actually had to physically shed blood in order to repent, and I was like...
that would be pretty scary. Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But that's why they did animal sacrifices, right? You know what I'm saying? So they would... Exactly. And so that's why we're out here. It's because Jesus absolutely changed my life, right? And he brought me peace, joy, and love. But it cost him something. And he says, anyone who wants to follow him, it's going to cost them something too. That whoever comes after me, we have to deny ourselves, take up our cross, and follow him. And so my question for you is, does it concern you at all that when you die one day, you could face eternity in hell apart from God forever? Does it concern you, Sophia? What do you think?
I've actually been asked this question before.
Really? Where were you asked this question?
By a family member.
Okay.
Yeah, so no, I don't fear burning in hell, really. Yeah. I just think that, like every other animal, once we die, we decompose and then we turn into dust, as the Catholics say.
Sure. Okay. And what about you? Does it concern you at all, Micah?
I've kind of reached a point, especially when you read things like Numbers 21 or something, where it's like, if a God that wants, is letting all these horrible things happen that happened in the Old Testament, if the God of the Christian Bible, especially as it's translated right now, if that God wants me to go to hell, then I don't care. Because the God right now that's represented by Christianity, I'm not really interested in pleasing that God.
Yeah. I totally hear what you're saying. And if I'll just share one last thought for you is there's the 10 Commandments. Sure, you've heard of the 10 Commandments. The second one is that we make God into whatever image we want, that you shall not make an idol, right? Or put something in the image of God. And that's whether it's American Christians or whether it's pride people or whether it's me, we can all shift God to fit what we want. And that's wrong. And that's breaking the second commandment. And so I just encourage you said that a minute ago. I don't want that God. It's not about the American God. It's not about my God, your God. It's about the biblical God, the God that has revealed himself through Abraham, Moses, Jacob, throughout time, and more importantly, through Jesus Christ. And that's why I encourage you guys, look at Jesus. Because if he truly died and then rose again, he's the one person throughout all of history who knows what actually is going to happen. You might say that we're just going to turn to dust, but in Buddhism, Buddha's gone, right? Muhammad is dead and gone. His grave is there. Darwin is dead and gone. All these people are dead and gone. They can't tell you, but Jesus is the one who claims to come back. Do you have any last thoughts you guys want to share? I'll give you both a chance.
Buddha, according to Buddhist, theology, didn't die. Buddha ascended into that. So
but he's gone, and he never claimed to come back, right?
Yeah. Which,
what about you, Sophia? Last thoughts?
Jesus was a communist socialist who hung out with sex workers. Know that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts, you guys.
I will also say the door, I have a foot in the door of Christianity. Yeah. I'm not completely opposed to coming back, but right now, I just haven't found the right community to do that with. Yeah. So maybe someday.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I think that's super honest. Thank you guys so much for your time, your thoughts. Well, I appreciate your time. Hope you guys have a great day, and thanks again.